I want to talk to you about birthdays. No, not my birthday. The birthday of the batch freezer that you're buying. Emery Thompson custom makes all our batch freezers to what our customers need. So when you order a machine, your machine isn't even born yet. It's in production after we sign up the order, and then in approximately 4 weeks, you'll have your new machine. That's not true with other companies. Other companies, most of them are, or they're all foreign made, except for Emery Thompson, and they're mass produced in factories overseas, and they make them one way, the way they want to make them, and then you have to adapt your business to what you want. With the Emery Thompson, we sit down with you, we talk to you, we find out, does your location need a water-cooled or air-cooled single-phase or three-phase? The other companies just say, here's what we build, and you deal with it. That's not what we do. The reason I want to talk about birthdays today is one of the large producers of batch freezers has gone out of business making batch freezers. They're not doing it anymore. They've given up the ghost. They've finished kaput. They're not going to be supplying parts anymore. But they're still selling batch freezers. They have an inventory of them. I've heard about 300 of them. So let me ask you a question. Would you buy a brand new car? Would you go to the Chevy dealer and buy a brand new car today and plunk down $25,000 on a new car that was actually built a year or two ago? It's still a new car, but it's a 2014 model, not a 2016. Does that make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to me. At Emery Thompson, like I said, your machine isn't built yet. This name tag hasn't been filled out yet. This is your machine. And when your machine is built, we're going to fill that out with all the pertinent information, including the date of manufacture, which will be about 4 weeks from now if you're ordering today. So you're not only getting a fresh machine with all fresh and latest parts, you're getting a machine that hasn't been sitting in a warehouse for a long time. There's another problem with that business that company going out of business. Do you really think they're going to keep spare parts for machines that they don't make anymore? There's always been this misconception, I think it came about what we thought with car companies, that a manufacturer had to keep parts for 7 years on every model they made. Well, that's just not true. You don't have to keep any parts for it. So if you're not building batch freezers anymore, why would you keep parts for it? And they're not going to. There's no impetus for them to do that. And when you buy an Emery Thompson that lasts 45 years or longer, you want to know that those parts will be around a long time. The other machines last about 7 years, maybe 10 at the best. But Emery Thompson, 45 years. In fact, the other day we had a phone call. It was kind of fun. A man called up, and he had a 66-year-old Emery Thompson machine. And he sheepishly asked, do you have the front gasket for this machine? And my answer to him was, sir, your question should not be, do we have the front gasket? The question is, do you want it shipped overnight or second day? That's the kind of service that we give to our customers. So when you're buying a batch freezer, consider the fact that you want a really brand new machine. Just like you want a new car right off the lot, you don't want something that's sitting around in a warehouse that is technically new, but in reality, it's been sitting there, and even though it's not running, it is aging. So come on out into the factory, and I'll show you what I mean of how your machine isn't built yet. Here we are on the assembly floor of Emery Thompson batch freezers. This is somebody's brand new baby being built. It's a 44 BLT with the infinite overrun control. That machine is going to produce 11 gallons of ice cream every time it runs. It's all handmade. These are top of the line, the most expensive compressors you can buy, Copeland scroll compressors. Instead of a piston engine which is beating itself to death, this one is spinning around like a Mazda engine, so it doesn't wear itself out. Best you can possibly buy. The freezing cylinder is 6 times thicker than anyone else's machine on the market. We've hand formed them here, and then we wrap it in over 110 feet of pure copper tubing. The transmission is also made in the USA, as well as the motors and all the other components that will go in here as the production continues. So this is a brand new machine that somebody ordered, and it's in the production cycle. It'll leave here after it's built and go through about 3.5 hours of testing, making Italian ice. We don't test just every fifth machine or every other machine. We test every single machine that we manufacture. Over here is a 24 quart that is under pressure test. What we're doing here is we've piped it all up. We've now filled it with nitrogen, and we're going to let it sit for 2 or 3 days and see if the gauges move. If the gauges don't move, that means it's holding pressure and everything was built according to specs. And then it'll go on from here to get loaded with the environmentally friendly refrigerant R404A, and then completed into production. Jack, if you'll swing the camera around, you'll show them over here the CB350s under production. And they also are all handmade here at Emery Thompson. And then over here, Jack, are completed CB350s. These are just getting ready to be finished off and sent out. Also over here is a CB200. We have a separate line, production line, just for making these two different models. Now, if you want to come over this way, Jack, we'll just show them what we've been building for the last few days and what is getting ready to be shipped out. Every machine is put onto a heavy wood skid, and then it's boxed in an extremely heavy box. Unless we're shipping it overseas, then we do full wood export crating. We handle the shipping for you. We make sure that it goes with the best truckers in the country, and we guarantee that the machine gets there in good working order. If anything happens on its way to you, it's our responsibility, and we take care of it. So every machine you see out here was just finished within the last few days and is getting ready to ship out within the next few days. No warehousing, no machines sitting around. Your batch freezer is brand new.